Have you ever wondered why we're seeing so many goals from outside the box at this year's Euros? In the first round, there were 12 goals in 12 games, an impressive number. This phenomenon draws attention, especially in a football where statistics discourage long-distance shots. Why, then, are these goals happening so frequently? Let's explore the causes, analyze the patterns, and understand how modern defensive tactics may be creating a breeding ground for these unlikely shots. Stay tuned, because this analysis could change the way we see current football. Remembering that we are talking about a situation that, statistically speaking, is unlikely. Shots from outside the area. When we look at the expected goals, XG, statistics are unlikely to generate goal situations. And even for this reason, with the increased use of statistics and data by technical committees, this type of situation has become discouraged in many scenarios. The issue of trying to finish from the outside. And the first round of the Euros went against that. So in itself, it's very interesting to see this happen. I have the feeling that this largely involves emptying the entrance to the area, prioritizing protection of the first line, which means that teams have more players in the area, or increasing the number of players in the first line, either to defend more the width of the field, or to defend the core of the defense more. Either to counter the tendency of many teams, which has been happening in club football for a long time, where they attack with practically 5 players. This offensive construction is very common in a type of 3-2-5 or 3-2-4-1. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is that it is very common for teams to attack with practically 5 players, overloading the last line. A response to this is often to add an extra player and defend with a line of 5 or even a line of 6. When you put more players in the first row, you empty the rest of the field. These are choices, the story of the short blanket in football strategies. So, I can't put the videos of the goals here. It would be fantastic if that were possible, but I took frames, frozen images that symbolize a little, and we're going to show the 12 goals from outside the area from this first round of the Euros. You can separate it into categories. Output errors, starting with ball release errors. Stano's goal, from Romania, against Ukraine, is a play that started with a passing error from Lunin. As it is an error in passing the ball, naturally the defense is coming out. If the defense is coming out, if the team is trying to play, it is not positioned to defend itself. And then there isn't much blocking at the entrance to the area. Great goal from Stano, shot from outside. That's 1 point. Once again, the ball comes out. TV, from Georgia, is disarmed at the beginning of the play. Turkey recovers the ball against Georgia and, when they recover, they have enormous space at the edge of the area. Naturally, Georgia was leaving too. Then, steal of the ball, and, from that steal, comes the finish from Arda Güler, who scores a great goal afterwards. To continue with the issue of ball release, passing error, in this case, the goal by Reinders, from the Netherlands, was born from a bad reversal by Poland, an attempt to release the ball with a long pass that ends up finding the opponent. When he recovers the ball, the finish comes almost immediately from Reinders at the edge of the area, catching Poland's entrance to the area, which is empty because there was also this issue. Leftover dead ball. Another category is dead ball leftovers. Naturally, many teams defend themselves with 11 players inside the penalty area. And this surplus, in the case of Karatin, Slovenia's left back, generated the goal with a deflection in the middle of the way. If the area is very crowded, the chance of this shot being hit, blocked, or even deflected towards the goal always happens. But Slovenia's goal against Denmark falls into this specific category of a dead ball sequence, left over from a corner. Counterattacks. There are also goals that come from transitions, like Romania's second goal against Ukraine, which comes from stealing the ball in the defense field that creates space to run. With the field to run, Razvan Marin hits from the edge of the area. Naturally, the team running backwards makes it more difficult to demand a structure from a more positioned team without the ball in the defense field. So we are categorizing these types of goals. This goal was also missed by Lunin, who played a very bad game. Not to mention, from a purely statistical point of view, Arthur Cabral's goal is also a goal from outside the area. That goal that Mamardashvili scored went into the opponent's area at the very end, the last goal of Turkey's game against Georgia. From a statistical point of view, this is a goal from outside the box, even though there was no goalkeeper. It was a counterattack, that's why I'm putting it in that regard. Defensive pattern. Let's move on to the most interesting, where we see a tactical pattern that could contribute to this high number of goals in the first round of the Euros. Germany's goal, the first, Wirtz's goal. Let's start to see how teams that conceded goals from outside the box, apart from the situations already mentioned, dead ball, ball error, counterattack, which say less about how a defensive organization can enhance goals from outside the box. Area. This is where the most interesting thing comes in, which could be a pattern to be observed following the competition. Scotland defending with a line of 5. Germany manages a rotation with Toni Kroos, finding Kimmich on the right side, and has the movement of Gundogan attacking the area, which brings another midfielder, McGregor, who enters the area when Wirtz finishes. We see Germany with space at half-moon height, the entrance to the area empty because Scotland had basically 6, almost 7 players in the area at that time. Line of 5 plus whoever went down, a steering wheel following Gundogan's infiltration. Entry into the empty area of a team that prioritized a first line with more players. Another goal for Germany, now the last against Scotland, at a time when Scotland already had 1 player less. Moment when Germany exchanges passes and tries to infiltrate the area. Notice how many players Scotland have inside their own box when Henrik shoots outside the box. Lots of people inside the area. Ball rolled back. Henriks finishes for Germany's goal, completing the route in the debut. Another goal from outside the box at a time when the opponent is all inside the box. The origin of Switzerland's Itten goal against Hungary. Hungary defending with a line of 5. In the defensive moment, we often have Szoboszlai and Szalai further away from the second line. There isn't always time to turn it into a 5-4-1. It often turns into a 5+2 defense, a line of 5+2 midfielders. Once again, more people in the first line, few people in a second line in front of the defense. Plenty of space at the entrance to the area, space for a pass to reach the side and find it and for a shot from outside. Swiss goal born from this. Most interesting, perhaps the most interesting of all, as a way to reinforce this theory. Italy and Albania. Albania defends itself with a line of 4, not a line of 5, unlike others we saw from Hungary and Switzerland. Albania has a characteristic, especially against Italy, of trying to protect its first line. As a result, against Italy, the 2 wingers dropped a lot and practically formed a line of 6. The origin of Italy's goal has a lot of this. Albania practically positioned in a 6-3-1. Priority to the number of players on the first line defending the width of an Italy that attacked with open players and almost always attacked the last line with 5 players. Pellegrini, Fratesi, Scamacca on the inside, plus Di Marco on the left, plus Chiesa on the right wing. 5 players attacking. Albania lowered the wingers, and this line of 4 became a line of 6. To have a line of 6 in the first line, the second line loses players. It becomes 6-3-1 in Italy's initial design. When Barella finishes, he is alone at half-moon height to finish and score the goal. Once again, a question of surplus, second ball, first line more protected, first ball more hit, but the surplus at the edge of the area is empty for a shot. Czechia goal against Portugal. Born like this. Sequence of Czech crosses for the Portuguese defense. Portugal playing with 3 defenders, although we saw few moments of Portugal in a more defensive phase, because most of the time they had the ball. A moment in which Portugal has many players inside its own area, due to the threat of a more physical and direct game from Czechia. Portugal with many players scoring inside the area, the entrance to the area is left for Pravad to hit from outside. Same thing with Mudrik's goal. Great triangulation from Turkey on the left side. Triangulation that worked well with Cengiz Under, Hakan Calhanoglu, and Karamak Turkoglu. They exchanged positions well on the left side. The play goes deep, generates a cross for Georgia with a line of 5. Line of 5 and 5-3-2. There tends to be fewer players on the second line than on the first. Team that tries to protect the area with lower defense, further back. Lots of people to mark the area, between the penalty spot and small area, ball hit. Georgia almost always won this first contest, but the surplus at the edge of the area resulted in a shot from Mudryk. Another great goal from outside the area. It is very interesting to divide and find a pattern in this division of the 12 goals in the first round of the Euro group stage. We see that it is never just one thing. There are several factors as we have seen. It could be a counterattack that makes the defense more open, an error in passing the ball that makes the defense disorganized, a surplus of set pieces where more people are placed inside the area to win duels from the top, and the entrance to the area is more unprotected. But it is very relevant when we see the pattern of the number of players defending the first line and, consequently, defending further back. Comparing, we build this reasoning and see that many of the goals conceded from outside the area were by teams that defend themselves with 5 or 6 in the first line, like Albania. All the other teams listed here, Georgia, Hungary, Scotland, all defending with a line of 5 at times, not having so many people for a second ball, a rebound, protection in front of that first line. Especially when you lower that first line further, pushed back, the space in front of that first line becomes more unprotected. Is it an absolute answer? Of course. Just a vision, a possible interpretation, a theory that I draw from this pattern of the first round of the Euro group stage. A point to watch following the Euros. It is still an interesting tactical aspect that the start of the Euro brought. As I said at the beginning of the video, shots from outside the box were not so fashionable in football, which looks so much at probability. The probability of an outside shot coming in is much lower, which makes many teams stop taking risks. But in a short shot tournament, a goal changes strategies, scripts, and the way of approaching games. The shot is valuable because it can change the course of a game. That's what we saw a lot in this first round of the Euros. Finally, open space for comments, other possible theories, because there are certainly other directions from the point of view of reasoning. A hug to everyone, and until next time.